What's up, all of you beautiful subscribers? Welcome back to the Chapple Show. So what we're going to be talking about today is Lyft versus Uber. Who will win the ride-sharing business? All right, we're going to be doing essentially a comparison of everything from the services, company breakdowns, financials. So why did I want to talk about this? Is because they both plan to IPO or go public on the stock market in 2019. So right now it's kind of an interesting point to essentially break down each company and which one do I think will win the ride-sharing business. All right, let's go through this here. So let's break down just the pricing of the services for the most part. So if you were to take a trip on Uber and Lyft, the prices, I mean, it's almost negligible. So essentially prices are the same. Now there are some differences. They have different surge rates. So for example, or prime time rates or whatever they call them. So if you were to take I don't know, if you were to take an Uber or Lyft at 5 o'clock in New York City, it's going to be a different price than it is in Kansas City at noon. All right, so there's different prices, but again, a company to company comparison, these prices for each trip pretty much the exact same for the most part, within a few percentage points. So the comparison on there, again, it's essentially the same. So the next thing here, this is an interesting point. This is very interesting. So which company do you think has more drivers in the United States? Take a guess. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Okay, got it, keep it in mind. All right, so let's go to Uber first. They have 750,000 drivers in the United States, in USA. 750,000 drivers. Now Lyft has, let's see what this number was here, 1.4 million. Actually, that's including Toronto too, by the way. So again, knock off, I don't know how many are in Toronto, tens of thousands, 50,000, I don't know what the number is. But about 1.4 million in the United States. In Toronto, and maybe a few cities in Canada, but again, it doesn't matter. Lyft has more drivers in the United States than Uber. Significantly more. It's almost double. Almost double. That was a very surprising stat that I was able to find online. Now this number may be updated. Again, these were from a few months ago, most of these. But again, for the most part, Lyft has more drivers in the United States. Now, why is Uber bigger then? I know what you're thinking, like, why is Uber bigger? They have less drivers. Well, that's not accounting for this number I'm about to say here. All right, so worldwide, Uber has 2.25 million outside the USA. Outside of the USA. I don't know if I actually couldn't even find Lyft's number for that. I don't even know if they are expanded. I couldn't even find the number of how expanded they are outside the United States and Toronto. But Uber has a significant has pretty much all, not all, because they have a competitor too, but Uber has a very large portion of the international ride-sharing market. Lyft does not. All right, so that's a big differentiator here. So I'm going to put a question mark here for Lyft. I couldn't find that number specifically. Again, they're private companies. That's why I can't find them. They're private companies. They don't have to announce how many drivers they have until they go public or are about to go public. So we'll find that number coming soon. All right, so let's do another comparison here. So Google, this is actually for Lyft. So Google invested, let's see here, what was the number here? Invested in Lyft in 2017. All right, Google invested in Lyft in 2017. I should say invested in Lyft in 2017. Meanwhile, Google actually invested in both of these companies. Google invested in Uber in 2013. Interesting, right? So why would Google invest in both? Why would they do that? Well, I think we covered this in a little bit here, but they may or may not have had a terrible falling out, which resulted in a large court lawsuit between Google and Uber. So Google's like, you know what? We're gonna fund your competitor, Uber. We're gonna get to that in a second here, why that happened. But again, it's just a comparison between the two. So Google right now is backing Lyft and not backing Uber. Essentially, that's what happened. They still own, I think that they still own their shares in Uber, but right now they're pro Lyft, I should say, and that's big. Google is a big tech company. That's going to be important as we go through this here. Google's a big tech company. They have a lot of power, and they could use some of their tech to help out the companies they invest in, like Lyft. All right, next thing here. So Lyft, let's see here. What was the number here? So in terms of rides given, who do you think has more? Again, this should be kind of an obvious who has more, so we'll start with Uber. Uber has given 4 billion trips, I believe, I think it was as of the end of 2017, 4 billion trips. That it looks like tries, that is trips. And Lyft has given about, I think as of right now, it's actually 400 million. 400 million trips. So again, Uber has given about 10 times as many trips as Lyft has. That is a pretty substantial number here. Actually, I want to ask you guys too. Have you ever which one do you use? And where are you guys from, by the way? Leave a comment down below. Like maybe not where you're from, but maybe the country you're in or something like that. Which one do you use? Because I'm betting that a lot more people use Lyft than you think, based on what I was able to find, specifically in North America. All right, next one here. So the valuation. So this is what the company was valued at based on the last time they raised funds. They raised a round of funding. So Lyft is right now worth 15 billion. I think it's 15.1 billion. We're going to say 15 billion. And Uber, based on their last round, is worth about $70 billion. So Uber is a giant company, a giant private company right now. Their latest valuation was $70 billion. That's like, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, but they're worth more than a lot of, like, it's like, I think are they worth more? No, PayPal's worth 100 billion or 130 billion or something like that. But again, Uber's a really giant private company, and they haven't even had that influx of Wall Street money yet. It's been all private equity groups that have come in and just taken a share at it. But once it goes public, valuation's probably going to jump a little bit, in my opinion, unless we hit a recession. And Lyft, again, same thing. A $15 billion, it's still a giant company. It's just compared to Uber, it's like a little brother. That again, it's a major competitor, but again, we're talking about a valuation that's 4 times less than Uber, about 5 times less, 4.5 times less, 4.75 times less. Let's move on here to the next one. Here's an important one. Lyft has 0 debt. Oh, I was going to do a B. 0 debt. That is a terrible one there. And Uber does have debt. They have about 3 billion in debt. And I know what you're saying. Does it matter to a $7 billion company? I mean, a little bit. 3 billion in debt's a lot for a company that I'm guessing is not profitable. That's just maybe they are. They might be. I'm not quite sure, actually. They might be profitable. See, we can't see their books. That's the problem. We won't be able to see their books until they announce they're going for an official IPO. But again, 3 billion in debt, that's not nothing. That's a lot of payments. That means that if we were to hit a recession, or if Uber were to take a downturn for, I don't know, a 6-month period, if they were to if their revenue goes down by 20% for 6 months or something, that is going to make money really, really tight. Really tight. They may have to change part of their infrastructure to deal with any downturns. Meanwhile, Lyft, as far as I could find, 0 debt, which is good. They might have a little bit, but from what I could find, 0. They have 0 in debt. That's fantastic. Meaning that if they were to get a downturn, they could probably deal with it for the most part here. Again, we don't know if these companies are really profitable. I'm guessing they aren't, because they're trying to grow as fast as possible, just increasing expenditures and reinvestments in the company as fast as possible. So they're probably not profitable, but I guess we'll find out soon. All right, we're going to talk about a major part here. We're going to talk about self-driving cars. So self-driving. So let's see here. Oh yeah, that's right. So Uber has in-house. So we're going to say in-house. So Uber has in-house self-driving car technology. So what they did, which is why Google kind of got mad at them, which was they wanted to start building their own self-driving car technology similar to Tesla. This was in 2012, 2013, somewhere, I think it was 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. They started investing in self-driving car technology. So they're like, okay, we don't know how to do this right now. We're really good with, API. We're good with essentially map technology and updating and location technology, but we're not too good with self-driving car technology. So we need a new engineer. We need a few of them. And so what do? They're like, hey, Google's subsidiary called Waymo. Waymo is Google's self-driving car company. It's essentially just Google's self-driving car company. We should just call it that, but they're called Waymo. So Uber went to Waymo and like, hey, lead engineer at Waymo and several of you, why don't you come and work for Uber and we will give you equity in our company and a lot of money. And the Waymo guys, engineers, were like, Sounds pretty good. So that's what they did. They kind of allegedly took some of the engineers away. Now, it wasn't directly, by the way, like that's legal, but what Google said was that because they hired their engineers, they took some of their code and some of their, technology secrets with them and used that for Uber's self-driving car tech. So that's where the lawsuit came in, actually. So Uber has an in-house one with old stolen Google tech, allegedly. And of course, Lyft, because they are invested in, because Google invested in them, they have a partnership. Partner with Waymo and GM, I believe, and GM. And so they partnered with, Lyft was like, okay, we can do some self-driving car technology, but you know what's easier? Why don't we focus on the ride sharing stuff and expanding that? And we partner with a company who spends a lot of their money on all of that tech stuff anyways. So Google comes in, Google subsidiary Waymo says, you know what, we can partner with you in the future. That's what we're going to do. We're going to partner with you. You can use our self-driving cars in the future once they become available. And GM said the same thing. Yes, I think they only have a couple of cars that can do it right now. But again, GM said the same thing. They said, look, we're going to partner with you. You can use our self-driving cars. So now all of a sudden, it's kind of Uber, it's a bigger company investing in itself, creating everything itself, but Lyft is making strategic partners, I could say strategic partners with Google and GM. So what do you guys think of that, by the way? Which one would you rather do? For the self-driving car specifically, would you rather, again, Uber try to make it yourself, or would you try and potentially have a higher upside if you were to get it done? Or would you want to do what Lyft did and kind of outsource it and try to give, maybe not pay someone too much money, but give up some sort of equity so that you don't have to dedicate all of that time and effort and all those years and pay all those engineers and have all of that expenses for building your own tech? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so I think that one of the last things I want to cover here, actually, before I give you my personal opinion, is PR. So the PR, public relations, for Lyft has been good PR. I would say decent. I messed that up. Good to decent PR. Messed that up, whatever. Good to decent PR, meaning that you haven't had too many scandals come out of Lyft. There's been, I think, a handful of things. Like, for example, there was a thing that happened, I think, earlier this year where there were some engineers that were getting into Lyft's, I would say, essentially database, their back-end code, and they were using that to look at their locations of their family, friends, some famous people, etc. And so obviously that's terrible. I don't even know if I think that must be breaking the law, right? This is all allegations for the most part, but that was pretty much their only real bad PR. That was from a former engineer, from what I heard, or a former person that worked there. Meanwhile, Uber has, let's just say that their PR has been not so great since 2014. All right, let's cover some of their stuff here. Bad PR, all right. Uber has had multiple sexual harassment allegations in the company. Who knows if they're true, who knows if they aren't, but they've come out so much. It's been bad PR for the company as a whole. They're saying it was a bro club and women were not treated properly. That's terrible PR. Again, not a good sign for the long-term company if they want to, if that were all true, if they're running a company like that. Again, that's just not the way you run a company. So terrible PR there. Let's see, another big thing was obviously they were trying to steal the tech allegedly from Waymo, from Google's company. And so that resulted in a giant lawsuit. Oh yeah, they settled that lawsuit, by the way. So Google sued them, and I think that they settled. And so we don't know what the settlement was. But again, Uber allegedly stealing some of Google's tech. Not good PR. Let's see. An Uber self-driving car hit a pedestrian. And so I don't know if you guys remember that video. It came out last year. And so it was bad PR, but if you guys look at the video, honestly, it seemed like, I hate to say this, it seemed like the pedestrian's fault. So if you guys don't know what happened here, I think it was last year, Uber is testing self-driving cars. They're doing with a bunch of cars that are all on the road right now, self-driving. They have someone to look out in the driver's seat, but they're just, whatever, on their phone, whatever, right? They aren't doing anything. So what happened was it was really late. It was like 1 a.m. or something. And it was on a 4-lane, essentially highway road, or a 3-lane highway road. There was a bicyclist, not even biking over the road. They were literally walking their bike across the road, not on a crosswalk or anything, just across the road. And the car hit them, and it was really dark outside. And people blamed Uber for that, and so Uber shut down their self-driving car stuff for a few months and tried to correct everything. But honestly, man, if you're walking across what looked like a highway road at 1 a.m. with no bright things on and there's no crosswalk and no stoplights, what are you gonna do? The self-car couldn't see you. Even if a driver was there, maybe they could have swerved. Maybe it could have been avoided. But again, that's a tough scandal. That was a tough scandal for me to actually blame Uber for. And see, Uber, some more PR. They came out, and a bunch of engineers came out and said that there was a bunch of people tracking locations of journalists, celebrities, politicians, and ex-girlfriends / boyfriends, but it was mainly girlfriends because most engineers are guys. That's what happens. So they were tracking people. They had essentially what was called a God view, meaning that you could view the location of anyone that used the app and view where they were for the last trip, where they went, where they started, how long it took. And obviously not good. That is not a good thing to for a company to do. And I think that is illegal. Or maybe it's not though. Again, I don't even know. Location services, are companies allowed to do that? Are engineers allowed to do that? I don't even know if it is. I don't know if it's illegal or illegal. I don't know. But again, that was bad PR. Two more things about them. They've had to pay a $20 million fine because they lied to drivers how much money they could make. So they had to pay this was this year, I think. $20 million went divvied out to some drivers, I think in New York. It was one specific city. They paid them out a few $1,000s saying, yeah, we lied to you about how much money you could make. You actually make a lot less than we said. Here's a bunch of money. 500,000 users deleted Uber after it raised prices during the taxi strike in New York. That was bad PR. And the last one was Travis Kalanick, the CEO, was caught on video, which I watched, yelling at an Uber driver, essentially about his complaints. Uber drivers complaining, hey, you're ruining the company, you should pay us more money. So it was something like that. And Travis Kalanick was like, no, we're not going to do that. This is my company, I do what I want. It's kind of exaggerated. But again, you can go look at the video, Travis Kalanick with an Uber driver. So here's my conclusion. Who will win? Which company's better? Which company is going to, which company is just better in my opinion? So let's talk about both. So Lyft is actually going to IPO before Uber. They're going to beat Uber to the IPO. So people that just want into the ride-sharing investment business, they're going to get into Lyft first. They're not going to get into Uber because Uber is going to be second. They're a little bit slower with this stuff. Again, Uber is 4 times bigger, had a massive head start actually. Uber started before Lyft. I think it was actually a year or two before Lyft. But Lyft has gained tons of ground, and here's my opinion. Lyft seems to have better, I would say, infrastructure and a better, I guess, company culture, which does matter. But again, Uber has such a big head start. I don't know if that matters. I think that Lyft is a better company as a whole, but Uber is so far ahead, I don't know if Lyft will be able to actually catch up and get ahead of Uber. So that's my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Remember to hit the subscribe button and the like button. And if you guys haven't heard, I have a kind of a new innovative vlog coming out. And hopefully next week it'll be coming up. But pretty much what I'll be doing is I'll be essentially starting to build businesses from scratch and documenting my journey through it. So at first I'm going to be building like a t-shirt company from first and selling it through Joisk, my own e-commerce marketplace, which you should check out. But essentially I'm going to be doing from, wholesale, from the point of buying the shirts to the point of selling them, making the first sales, everything in between, making logos, getting customers, advertising, everything. I'm going to show it all to you because I got tired of people being like, this is how I built my business. Buy this course. I got really tired of that. So I want to actually document the journey of it and show you guys what it's like. And I'm going to be doing that with new businesses and launching them through Joisk, hopefully every couple weeks, maybe every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. We can see how often I do that, maybe once a month. So I'll do t-shirts first, and then I'll do something else like some tech thing. Then maybe I'll go with hats or some apparel, maybe electronics. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks. But anyways, I'd like to thank you very much for watching this. You are all very beautiful people. Make sure to check out joisk.com. We have the lowest prices on the internet. And I will see you guys in the next video.